Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Um, thanks for coming today, and I will go to present our final project, which is the result of our hard work within the past of 5 days. We as humans tend to procrastinate, especially in the morning when our morning alarm is triggered. We tend to use over and over again, and then instead of waking up immediately. So we'd like to introduce you to our app, which is Activ8Me. So what is Activ8Me? Activ8Me is an alarm app which aims to take the laziness of the user in the morning. So and how we make the user to play a series of games before they can stop the alarm. Okay, without further ado, we're going to show you the testing and the demonstration of our.
Okay, so before we begin demonstration, first we will try our testing. Right now, I will run the test. The result. In this result, we can see that we got a 100 coverage, which means that all of the our tests in the server side is working as our expectation. So for the next demo, we can continue to our demo.
All right, sorry for the delay. Now we'll begin the demonstration. So our application runs exclusively online, which means that the user has to register first before they are able to set an alarm. For this presentation, we've prepared an account. Once the user logs in, our application will store the user's data to the phone. This allows us to keep the user logged in indefinitely. So if and reopen the app again, I will be redirected straight to the alarm list. If the user wishes to log out, he can do so by simply navigating to the bottom right button and clicking log out. By clicking form, and within this page, he or she can input three things: the alarm title, the alarm time, and the days to repeat the alarm. As you can see here, our application has a total of 5 games: Boxfall, Memory, Sum Up, Wake Me, and Find Me. Later in detail, but for now, let's just set an alarm. So let's say I will set an alarm called Final Project. Oh, I'd like to point out that the user doesn't have to set a day to repeat the alarm. So, for example, if I set an alarm 3 minutes, without selecting a single day, then the app will register for a one-time event only. Right? So while we wait for the alarm to trigger, I'll show you the rest of the features. To first and foremost, turn on the alarm. The user can simply toggle the switch on the left, like so. And if the user swipes left, there are 2 buttons on the right. One is to edit and one is to delete. If I press the pencil icon, they will be redirected to the alarm form, and they can change the title and the day according to their wishes. All right. Now, our application triggers the alarm event in two different scenarios. The first scenario is when the application is completely open, like right now, and running in the front window is when the application is running, when the application is switched off and running in the background. For this presentation, I will showcase the alarm trigger event when the application is completely closed and running in the background. So what's happening behind the scene is that our server, through the data every minute, to find an alarm trigger event that matches the time. And if it does find an active alarm event for that time, then it will automatically launch the app and trigger the alarm.
Also, we already prepared 3 different ringtones. User can adjust them, and it will be randomly selected when the alarm is triggered.
All right. So it was 3:35. We'll just wait for a few more seconds, and it should automatically trigger the alarm.
So when in the back, we hope the apps will be open automatically and directing the user to the alarm landing page. This technology is using Fire-based cloud messaging for the notification. Three, five.
It's running at the correct time. Okay. As you can see here, when the alarm is triggered, a continuous alarm ringtone is played on a loop. In this page, the user can choose between swiping right or left. If they swipe left, there's a snooze button. So once the user completes all 5 games, the alarm will be snoozed for another 10 minutes, which means I will trigger again later in the future. If they swipe right, there's an awake, and once the user completes all 5 games, the alarm will be automatically switched off. For this presentation, I'll choose to snooze, and we'll begin the gaming.
Now I will explain about the game. Now I will explain about the game. This game is so simple. The user just need to press the wake me button until the bar is full. And then when the bar is full, then the kitten will jump and wake the cat up. And then sum up again. In this game, the user needs to select multiple number and sum it up according to the number displayed above. And then the next game is user needs to search through all the sleeping cats and find the cat with the awake cat. The awake cat is as displayed above. And then the next is mix and match. Pair 8 cards to win.
Wait. What?
If the user pair 2 different cards, then they will be flipped back. And then this is the box wall game. In this game, the following boxes with different streets, and then to win this game, the user needs to score 20 points. If the ball touches the box, then it will reset to 0 points. And in this sensor, to access phone's gyroscope and React Native game engine.
Okay, sorry.
React Native game engine to render game component and to simulate the gravity.
Yay. All right, so as you can see, once the user completes all 5 games, they will be redirected to this page. Once the user presses the confirm button, the app will be closed back to the home screen. Since I chose to snooze in the beginning of the game, this means for the next 10 minutes I will trigger again. For now, this concludes our demonstration. We will now explain the flow of the app.
For the flow of the app,
Oh.
for grid, and our apps will send requests to our server, and our server will send response for the request, which contains data according to the request.
The next is the alarm trigger layer, and this is the detailed flow of the alarm trigger event. First, our database our server in the background will be running through the database to find all the alarm that currently active and needs to be triggered. After that, a server will be sending the data engine, where in the Firebase cloud messaging, the data will be sent to the user phone where the apps is installed and have an alarm that needs to be triggered. And in the user phone where our apps is installed, and the data will be get as a notification data. And the data will be goes to the filtering process to find the exactly alarm that needs to be triggered. When the apps is found, the exact alarm, it will be directed the user to the alarm landing page. As you can see from the demo, for testing purposes, we're using 3 technologies. First is Mocha as our testing library. Second is Chai as our assertion library. And last but not least, Istanbul as our testing coverage tools.
Express for our server routing, Cron for the background job, and MongoDB Atlas as our database, and then Mongoose for and Google Cloud Platform as our server environment.
For the front end or the client side, we use React Native for management, React Navigation for our routing in the client side, Firebase Cloud Messaging to trigger the alarm event as showed earlier, and React Native Firebase to connect Firebase to the client. Pop Motion is used to style and animate. And lastly, React Native Sensor, the gyroscope data is for earlier.
When we develop this app, we also face several challenges. The first challenge that we need to tackle is that we need to setting up the React Native CLI. React Native CLI work different, means we need to handle errors, so it will take some time. And the second one is we need to figure out how to enable the app when via Firebase Cloud Messaging. So when the app is run, the third one is that we also need to figuring out how to replace the current state of the application. So the Firebase Cloud Messaging apps can work in both foreground and background. For shorthand, running on when the app is running in the screen, and the background when the app is in a closed state. And we also have another success story. The first one that we are but we managed to completed our apps from what we are expected at the beginning. And the second one is in the process of development, we can minimize the conflict and integrate our code. And the third one is we finally can doing a trigger alarm in the both foreground and background.
figure out a way to trigger the alarm on when the app itself is open and trigger it at the right time. As mentioned earlier, we used Firebase cloud messaging, and this was surprisingly done pretty fast. We achieved this goal within 2 days. So on the next day, we tried to figure out another way to open the app when it's running in the background. Thankfully, we managed to achieve this within the 5 days that we had, and yeah, everything went well. So behind this app is a group of dedicated developers. At first, I'd like to introduce myself. And in this, I handled the front-end side, particularly in the styling and designing the user interface.
And hello, my name is Arif Putra. My background in computer science. And in this project, I was responsible in creating the mobile page and also
Background is mathematics. In this project, I am a full stack developer, particularly responsible for Firebase cloud messaging to connect the server and the client through Firebase cloud messaging and do some styling and
My background is engineering, and I'm responsible for creating the backend server and component of the game in the client and some styling. And also, I'm the team leader of this project. With this, we conclude our presentation. Thank you for listening. Is there any question?
Oke, terima kasih. Ya, balik ke kearifan lokal. Terima kasih untuk presentasinya. Seperti yang sebelum-sebelumnya lagi, kita akan ngebuka 3 slot pertanyaan. Oh, udah ada yang maju. Oke.
Hi guys, I think what you I really like the styling.
Thank you.
But I'm not sure if you have noticed this or not. Maybe you haven't mentioned it, but I noticed that there are 2 major design flaws. For example, you trigger the alarm then the alarm will not trigger. Second of all, if you just turn off the volume, then the alarm will also not trigger. So have you ever thought about that first, or maybe it's just you didn't have time to finish that?
We initially tried to do the things that you just said, but since in Activ8 Phase 3 we didn't really learn to override the phone's system, this was the best that we could do. Yeah, Felix?
So basically, we use connection, and if user phone is not connection to the internet, our apps cannot receive the notification message from the Firebase. So maybe it's in the future plan. Maybe we can make the apps running on offline. Thank you.
So if we actually put 2 alarms at the same time,
Yes.
what will happen?
Okay, I will answer that. Since I'm
Oh,
explaining.
sorry, my bad. I mean 2 alarm at the same time, like
Yeah, I know.
yes, specific
I
time.
mentioned earlier when alarm trigger flow, the server is running through the database to find all the list of the alarm IDs, and on the apps, the list will be filtered from the top and the bottom. So the one you created early, it will be triggered first, and the other one is not going to only games, because if there's another alarm that's going to be triggered, when you play games, it will be redirect back to the alarm, and it will be confusing for user.
Hey guys, Tambah here again from Agenkan. I think very interesting concept there. I just have like one question here, like a very basic question. What was the decision why what that 5 games, like that kind of games? Why didn't you select that type of games?
Okay, actually, in the first of development, we choose to only develop 5 games. So, but the process of the games itself that games in their respective appear. So in every alarm set, the game will be randomly.
And I want to add, as the time of this project is only flow, and because yes.
Oke, thank you. Kita berikan tepuk tangan terakhir untuk tim Activ8Me. Ya mungkin kalau saya